wealthy own the factors of production. That's what Obama's doing right now. Obama's in the midst of converting America into a monopolistic capitalistic system where the government will run these factories, etc., and the major industries. And when it does, it's going to be the American capitalists doing it, and then hiring the government officials to run it for them under the name of the ownership, of, the government owning it, but not. They're going to own the factories as well. And that's where we are. That's what's happening in America today. The middle class has got to be destroyed, and that's exactly what's happening.
I think you explained it really, really well, a lot better than anybody else out there. But speaking of Obama, do you think he will get another term?
Well, I don't know. It's all anything. It's speculation, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like the American people. In fact, I want to say this. In 40-some years of doing this research, I've never been as optimistic that we were going to save this country from the New World Order. I'm not optimistic we're going to do it. I'm optimistic that there's finally some signs that the American people are waking up. They're starting to say no to big government. This government is $12 trillion in debt. $1 trillion. When Reagan was in office, he raised it to the first $1 trillion ever. And when he did, that was a scandal. $1 trillion in the 80s, and now it's over $12 trillion. How are we going to pay that back? No one's asking that question. Very few are. Let's do it that way. But how are we going to pay it back? We have to sell everything we've got to pay it back. Why? When you borrow money from the international bankers and create the national debt, they want the money back at interest. So it's not only $12 trillion, it's $12 trillion plus interest. They sell us bonds for 20 years, let's say, and when we do that, they set up a contract and they charge interest for the borrowing of the money. All bankers do that. When you go to buy your car, they want interest payments on the loan they make you, so you pay back the principal plus interest. And I don't know how much the interest is on $12 trillion, but it's going to be at least another $12 or $14 trillion by the time we get it paid off, if not more. So I'm telling you, that's where we are. And notice, no one seems to care. It's just, well, we do it, trillions don't mean anything. Yes, they do mean something. We have to pay them back plus interest. That's the problem.
Do you think that this the world financial elite, including like the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, how much of a role are they playing in globalization and New World Order and taking our civil rights and liberties away from us?
Well, they're certainly directly involved, but understand this: they're very lower layer. They take the abuse. We're supposed to know about the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, but we're not supposed to know about the layers above them. And one of those layers above them is the Masonic Lodge. And in the first 30 years of my research, no one had opened up the door into the Masonic Lodge until I started it in 1985 on my lecture tour, and I was pleased to do so. It was very preliminary, but we started the discussion, and now a lot of people are writing books about the Masons, the Knights Templars, and the Shriners and everything else, and that's very, very healthy for America. But I want you to know, even that's still not the top layer. There's layers above the Masons, but as I said before, the reason I use the Masons is because they put it in writing. You can read their plans for America. It's very simple. You just do the research and find it, and that's what I've done. I've saved you the trouble of reading all the books that I've done. You can read my third book's called Masonry, Conspiracy Against Christianity, and I prove that Masons take a vow to destroy Christianity, and then I tell you why. Why do they want to do that? Why replace Christianity with the New World Order? And it's all detailed in my book, Masonry, Conspiracy Against Christianity, my third book.
Go ahead and give me a little example of why they might be trying to replace Christianity.
Well, it's very simple. I'll make it as brief as I can. And you're going to say this is impossible, okay, but I'm telling you, this is what they say. I'll use the Masons. The Masons believe that the book of Genesis in the Bible is correct. that there was a Garden of Eden, there was a man and a woman there, and that they were tempted by the devil, Satan called Satan in the Bible, and they were tempted with this. God said to man, and by the way, this, even though it's religious, it's out of the Bible, this is what they believe in this conspiracy. So you can say, separate church and state. No, they're the ones that put it in writing as to what they believe in, and so I'm just quoting what they say. So they say that the Bible says that God said to Adam and Eve that you are not to decide what's right and wrong. I will teach you what's right and wrong, and when I do, you will be happy. Why? Because he's going to teach us not to murder. And when we are taught not to murder, you can go out at 3 o'clock in the morning for a walk in the park. Nowadays, you can't because we're scared to death you're going to get mugged or shot or raped or whatever it is. And why is that? Because we believe the opposite position, and that's what we're being taught, that the devil offered man. Man should decide for himself in all things. We don't need God. We don't need religion. We need man's mind to decide for himself. If you want to rape at 3 o'clock in the morning, go out and do it. There's no one can object. No one can resist. You say that's impossible. Look around you, America. It's happening right in front of your eyes. This is why young people and others are out shooting. I live in Tucson, Arizona, and I'm sure it's the case probably across the country. We have drive-by shootings. Young high school students in either the Blood or the Crips drive by and shoot a person who's out of their territory for no reason. Why do they do that? Because they're taught that whatever that you wish to do is permissible, just do it. If this guy's in your territory, kill him. Well, we were taught by God, thou shalt not murder. And that's the way that this young person who can walk the streets, no matter where in the city of Tucson he wants to go, he's free to do so. Not anymore, because we have Crips or Bloods or others who decide that they're in their territory and they're out of place and they can just kill them. And that's where we are today. Look around you. This is the problem. This is what the Masons believe. Now, let's go back. Who gave us all this morality? Why is it worldwide man separates men and women, and they get married, and they have children, and they stay together, and we have a, quote, family? Notice that. That's worldwide. We don't have to do that. We could be free to marry anyone we want to, or not get married, or have communes of, we have everybody having sex with everybody else. We're free to do that. We have been given free choice. So here's what they say. This is the call of the Masons. The Masons say God is a tyrant because he's telling us what to do. Now, wait a minute. They say, God gave us free choice, but then he said, don't exercise free choice. I will teach you not to do certain things. And when I do that, you're going to be free. As I said, you can walk out at 3 o'clock in the morning into a park and not fear getting raped or murdered or pillaged. But now we can't because we are being taught that God is a tyrant. We have to separate church and government, church and state, which is a lie. We'll talk about that in a minute. So that's why when you go now, you can't go to the park at 3 o'clock in the morning or walk your dog because you might get raped or murdered because someone believes that they're free to decide for themselves what's right and wrong. This is the lie. They want to create a society where each man believes whatever he wants to do is right and can do it. And you say that's impossible. I'm telling you, it's in their own literature. I found it and proved it, documented it, so you can know this is where we're going. Look around you, America. It's happening right now. People are being encouraged to do what they want to do in their own views, and it's called, in high schools and colleges, it's called situation ethics. Our young people are being taught this. We are not separating church and state because situation ethics is part of America's religion called humanism. Go on the internet, find the Humanist Association, and you'll find it a religion. It's sanctioned by the state. It teaches there are no moral absolutes. And it's approved by the state and being taught in our schools today as situation ethics.
How many of our
basic?
Sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
How many signers of the Declaration of Independence were Freemasons? Wasn't it like 20 or 30?
Well,
something.
Well, let's say it this way. Let's start with this. The Revolution was a very bloody one, of course, and buildings were blown up. And the Masons claim they don't know for sure exactly, because many of the lodges were destroyed during the American Revolution, which is quite possible. I've been on the History Channel twice discussing the Masons and the founding of this nation, and the Masons tell us they have one of their 33rd degree Masons, were the top Masons in the nation, says that there's 8 of the 59 signers of the Declaration. There's 56. They say that that's a